Good evening, Ma'am Carolina and classmates. We are the third group, and tonight we will be discussing about Chapter 8 that focuses on IT trends, issues, and challenges. More specifically, about the latest trends in information technology. To proceed, here are the topics that we are about to tackle. IoT, Internet of Things, to be reported by yours truly, Miss Anthony, together with Mr. Tutanes. Next, virtual reality to be discussed by Mr. De Guzman and Ms. Espejo. Third, big data analytics to be tackled by Mr. Sentasas and Mr. Solis. Fourth, cloud computing to be explained by Mr. Mercado and Mr. Kakal. Lastly, 5G wireless technology to be reported by Mr. Alhambra and Mr. Aragon. To start, what is IoT? The Internet of Things, or IoT, is a system of connected computing devices, mechanical and digital machines, or people that are uniquely identified. In addition, it refers to the ability to transfer, share, and collect data over a network without requiring human to human or human to machine interaction. To put it simply, it pertains to the billions of physical devices around the world that are now connected to the internet. Next, what technologies have made IoT possible? Recent advancement in technology has made IoT more practical and widespread. First, sensor technology. Access to low cost, low power sensors are making IoT technology possible for more manufacturers. Second, a host of network protocols. The internet has made it easy to connect sensors to the file transferring platforms for efficient data sharing. Third, cloud computing platforms. The increase in the availability of cloud platforms enables both businesses and consumers efficient data management. This topic will be discussed further later on. Fourth, machine learning. The advancement of machine learning and analytics, along with access to varied and vast amounts of data stored in the cloud, businesses and consumers can collect data more easily and quickly. Lastly, artificial intelligence. Conversational artificial intelligence, which is a subtype of artificial intelligence, includes digital personal assistants such as Alexa, Cortana, and Siri. These natural language processing had brought forward IoT devices that has made it much easier to build a smart home. To proceed, what are some of its applications? There are a lot of real-life applications of the Internet of Things ranging from consumer IoT and enterprise IoT to manufacturing and industrial IoT. First, in the consumer segment, for example, smart homes that are equipped with smart devices and appliances that can now be controlled remotely via computers and smartphones. Second, wearable devices with sensors that can gather and analyze user data, sending messages to other technologies about the user. This aims to make the user's lives easier. Third, in the medical field, IoT offers many benefits, including the ability to monitor patients more closely using an analysis of the data with the use of wearable devices that can track the patient's health status. Fourth, smart buildings have sensors that can detect how many people are in a room. It has smart thermostats installed which can be adjusted automatically. For example, turning the air conditioner on if sensors detect a full conference room, or turning the heat down if the office is empty. Lastly, smart farming systems can help monitor, for instance, light temperature, humidity, and soil moisture of crop fields using connected sensors that can be controlled using a single device. To continue the discussion about IoT, Mr. Tatanes will now take over.
Thank you, Miss Anthony, for that wonderful discussion on IoT, or Internet of Things. So to continue off with your discussion, I would like to give some advantages and disadvantages given with IoT. So what are some advantages of this? Some advantages include the following. First is accessibility on data. We have the ability to access information from anywhere at any time on any device. Second, we have improved communication between connected electronic devices. And third, we have automated tasks, which automating tasks helps to improve the quality of business services and reducing the need for human intervention. And for the last one, we have packet transfers, which transferring data packets over a connected network, saving time and money. Let's continue off with some disadvantages of IoT. So for the first one, we have hackers, and as we know that as the number of connected devices increases and more information is shared between devices, the potential that a hacker could steal confidential information also increases. And for the second one, we have system bugs. And as we know, if there's a bug in the system, it is likely that every connected device will become corrupted as well as the data. And another problem of IoT would be the data load. And enterprises may eventually have to deal with massive numbers or maybe even millions of IoT devices, and collecting and managing data from all these devices may become challenging. And for the last one, we have compatibility. And since there's no international standard for compatibility of IoT, it is difficult for devices of different manufacturers to communicate with each other. Let us continue with discussion with IoT standards. And as we all know, IoT standard defines a method for data sharing, interoperability, and security of messages over a network, where sensors, actuators, and other devices can interoperate, regardless of underlying communication technology. And there are several emerging IoT standards, including the following. We have IP version 6 over low power wireless personal area networks, and it is an open standard defined by the Internet Engineering Task Force. We also have Zigbee. It is a low power, low data rate wireless network used mainly in industrial settings. And we have Light Operating System. It is a Unix-like operating system for wireless sensor networks. And we also have OneM2M, a machine-to-machine service layer that can be embedded in software and hardware to connect devices. We have Data Distribution Services, or DDS, and it was developed by the Object Management Group and is an IoT standard for real-time, scalable, and high-performance M2M communication. With that, let's continue off with virtual reality to be discussed by De Guzman and Espejo.
Oh my god. Ira, do you see what I see?
Of course, we are even underwater. Now look, we're above
No.
mountains.
I don't like this. Wait, this place looks familiar, right?
Obviously, that is pamantasan ng lungsod ng Maynila. Actually, this is pretty amazing.
That's it. You, how about you? Are you familiar with what we have tried? This device that we have called is called a virtual reality box or VR box. But first of all, what is virtual reality? So virtual reality is actually one of the uses of computer technology to create simulated environments, wherein virtual reality places the user inside a three-dimensional experience instead of just viewing a screen in front of them, wherein users are immersed in an interactive 3D world. History time. Did you know that in the 1966 film Fantastic Voyage, a submarine and its crew shrink to the size of a human cell to ride through the bloodstream of a scientist and remove a blood clot in his brain? Relevantly, this movie speaks to humanity's desire to explore realms considered impossible to reach due to our physical limitations. But thanks to technologies such as virtual reality, which is VR, and augmented reality, which is AR, students in elementary schools are now doing just that. Moving on. There are actually three types of virtual reality. These are non-immersive, semi-immersive, and fully immersive. Starting with non-immersive virtual reality, it is often overlooked as VR simply because it is so common. Yes, non-immersive VR technology features a computer-generated visual environment where the user simultaneously remains aware, so they are really aware of what their state are, and controlled by their physical environments. So second, there is this called semi-immersive virtual reality, which provides the user an experience partially based in a virtual environment. So what happens with this type? So this type of VR makes sense for educational and training purposes since it is immersive, which makes it really purposeful in terms of graphical computing and large projector systems. So actually, there are multiple applications of virtual reality, but let us just focus with its main points. So VR or virtual reality allows the users generally to cross boundaries that rather would otherwise be unimaginable or imaginary. Specifically, what are those? Starting with dining. Yes, when we say dining, it means restaurants, of course. Users can travel virtually to different places and immerse themselves in certain environments while tasting the dishes from these locations. Well, actually, in the field of medicine, VR is actually applicable. So how? So based from the Spanish National Research Council, they have succeeded in reducing the effects of Parkinson's disease in several patients. Okay, so there are even more applications of virtual reality, but I would not dive to those deeper. But some of those are culture and art, even military, and most especially work field. So now, if you are not familiar with virtual reality, do you wonder how does virtual reality works? So the VR process combines hardware and software to create immersive experiences which fools the eye and the brain. Hardware supports sensory stimulation, such as sounds, touch, smell, or even heat intensity. While software of the virtual reality, of course, creates the rendered virtual environments. So now, are you amazed with what virtual reality is? I think you are very amazed of it, right? So if you have some spare cash, I think it is the opportunity now to buy a VR box. To further proceed with the elaboration of virtual reality, let us have Miss Espejo. Line please.
Thank you very much, Mr. De Guzman. And now we are about to learn more about the virtual reality as well as the augmented reality. The difference between the two is that VR builds the world in which we immerse ourselves through a specific headset. It is fully immersive and everything we see is part of an environment that is artificially constructed through images, sounds, and so on. On the other hand, in augmented reality, our own world becomes the framework within which objects, images, or similar are placed. Everything we see is in a real environment, and it is not really necessary to wear a headset. And the most mainstream example of this concept is the Pokemon Go. So what do you think is the difference between the two? Well, despite of being a technology that originated decades ago, many people are still unfamiliar with the concept of virtual reality. It is also quite common to confuse the term virtual reality and augmented reality. Of course, if we have VR technology, we also have the VR accessories such as 3D mouse model, optical tracker, motion controllers, and so on. The first accessory is the 3D mouse. It is a control and pointing device designed for movement in virtual 3D spaces. Second is the optical trackers. This is the common method used in VR systems to follow the tracked object or person. Third is the motion controllers. These accessories allow the users to act in mixed reality. The controllers allow the fine-grained interaction with digital objects because they have a precise position in space. We are now done with the technology and accessories used in VR, and now I'd like to discuss with you the importance of audio in virtual reality. VR strives to emulate reality, so audio plays a vital role in creating credible experiences. Audio and visuals work together to add presence and space to the environment. As people, we hear in three dimensions, and the importance of audio in VR is that they can discern the direction sound comes from and rough distance from the sound source. We have ears of both sides of the heads, and our brains adjust the sound accordingly. We therefore perceive sound as if positioned at a specific point in three-dimensional space. And for our final main point, I'd like to discuss the benefits of augmented reality and virtual reality in education. Well, the benefits of virtual reality in education include the ability to inspire students' creativity and spark their imaginations. And this can motivate them to explore new academic interests. AR and VR also help students who are struggling to understand difficult academic concepts. For example, through augmented reality, geometry students can check out 3D geometric forms from multiple perspectives. They can rotate a shape to see it from different angles and even view it from the inside. Moreover, the benefits of virtual reality in education go beyond academics as well to include cultural competence, the ability to understand another person's culture and values, and of course, it is an important skill in today's interconnected global society. And there you have it. We have finished our discussion about the virtual reality. And as I end, I'd like to share a quote by Miguel Ruiz. The dream of life is really an illusion, and everybody lives in the reality he or she creates. A virtual reality that is only true for the one who creates it. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for listening, and we hope we added to your understanding of how virtual reality works. And to give us knowledge about the next topic, I will now give the floor to Mr. Sentasas. Please take over.
The term big data analytics seems so complex and techy, and that's why I'm here to simplify it for you. The term big data quite literally describes large sets of diverse data, may it be structured, unstructured, and semi-structured, that are continuously generated at a high speed and high volumes. Big data analytics is the process of finding patterns, trends, and relationships in massive datasets that can't be discovered with traditional data management techniques and tools. To make it easier to understand, the traditional way of analyzing big data commonly takes place only after a certain period of time or event. If you are an owner of an online shop, you may look at the data accumulated within a week and then analyze it. With big data analytics, all of these are processed real-time and instantaneously. Pretend you manage 600 deliveries all at once from Shopee, and you need to know the exact location of each as well as route delays in real time. Now that we know what big data analytics is, let's take a look at its many types. Firstly, descriptive analytics is a common kind of analytics that would allow you to find out what happened and when exactly. This just means that you're merely describing the given data. Diagnostic analysis, why and how something happened by identifying patterns and relationships in available data. The keyword is diagnosis. Predictive analysis uses historical data to uncover patterns and make predictions on what's likely to happen in the future. This requires many mathematical models to accurately create a reasonable prediction. And lastly, prescriptive analysis provides specific recommendations on what should be done better. Let's proceed to what exactly happens during the analysis of these data. Step 1 is data ingestion. The process of identifying the sources and then getting big data varies from company to company. It's worth noting though that data collection commonly happens in real time, if not near real time, to ensure immediate processing. Modern technologies allow gathering both structured and unstructured data from an array of sources, including websites, mobile applications, databases, flat files, customer relationship management systems or CRMs, IoT sensors, and so on. Raw data must then undergo the process of extraction, transformation, and loading, ETL. So either ETL or ELT data pipelines are built to deliver data from sources to centralized repositories for further storage and processing. Step 2. Data storage and processing. Based on the complexity of data, it can be moved to the storages such as cloud data warehouses or data lakes, from where business intelligent tools can access it when needed. When data is in place, it has to be converted into the most digestible forms to get actionable results on analytical queries. For that purpose, different data processing options exist, but we will not be deep diving into those. Step 3 is data cleansing. In a nutshell, the data cleansing process involves scrubbing for any errors, duplications, inconsistencies, redundancies, wrong formats, etc., and as such confirming the usefulness and relevance for data for analytics. Any irrelevant or flawed data must be removed or taken into account. Finally, the last step, data analysis. Here's when big data turns into actionable insights that, among other things, is driving the development and competitiveness of companies. To make sense of the huge amounts of data, there are several techniques and practices. These are natural language processing, text mining, sensor data analysis, and outlier analysis. So these are everything that you need to know about big data analytics for the tools and services used in big data analytics in real cases in the real world. Let's have Mr. Solis.
Thank you, Mr. Santasas. Now, let's talk about the tools and services used in big data analytics. First is Apache Hadoop. Apache Hadoop is a set of open source software for storing, processing, and managing big data. The Hadoop ecosystem consists of many components. The core three include Hadoop Distributed File System or HDFS, Hadoop MapReduce, and Hadoop Yard. Next, NoSQL databases, also known as non-relational or non-tabular databases, used as a range of data models to access and manage data. Unlike traditional relational databases that sort all data into tables and rely on structured query language syntax or SQL, NoSQL databases use different methods to store data. Based on the type of database, there might be such store options as columns, documents, key-value pairs, and graphs. Thanks to flexible schemas and great scalability, NoSQL databases are the best fit for massive sets of raw, unstructured data and high user loads. Last is Kafka. Kafka is a scalable, open-source, fault-tolerant software platform used to collect big data from multiple sources. The platform is specifically developed for high-speed, real-time information processing. Kafka has an event-driven architecture, meaning the system doesn't need to check for new data as it responds to events as they occur in real time. In this way, the complexity of big data gets more manageable. Now we have real-life examples in case of big data analytics, in which we could insert e-commerce. E-commerce meaning the activity of buying and selling products and services through online means, like the company Amazon. Amazon collects and analyzes a mountain of data about each of the company's customers. This could be such information as the browsing or purchasing history of a user, demographic details, and etc. The analysis of this data helps Amazon draw a complete picture of each user and create more targeted ad campaigns, respectively.
And now let's move on to the next topic with Mr. Mercado.
Hello, I'm Edvir and I'm here to talk about cloud computing. So, what is cloud computing? It delivers computing services over the internet for technological innovations. Additionally, it allows the users to store and process data over the internet instead of using disk drives. You know, hard disk drives and solid state drives. Some great examples are Google Drive, Dropbox, and Mega. It is called cloud because data is stored in a cloud or network of services owned by a third party. So next slide please. How does it work? So it has two components, the front and the back end. So the first one, the front end, begins with the user accessing their data using an internet browser or unique software. And after that, the back end comes into play. The user requested access to their data, which is now passed along to the central server. The central server then follows certain rules known as protocols, and additionally, the central server also uses a middleware that lets the network of computers communicate with each other. And lastly, the data will be fetched from the backend and will be delivered to the user. So, a great example of cloud computing is email. Users can access their data even if it is not inside their computers. The data they accessed came from the email provider's cloud. Thank you. And the next would be Chad. Come on, Chad.
Now we are going to discuss about the advantages of cloud computing. First, it is cost effective. Cloud computing eliminates the capital expense of buying hardware and software and setting up and running on-site data centers. Next, it is reliable. Cloud computing makes data backup, disaster recovery, and business continuity easier and less expensive because data can be mirrored at multiple redundant sites on the cloud provider's network. Lastly, it is productive. Cloud computing removes the need for time-consuming IT management chores like software patching, so IT teams can spend time on achieving more important business goals. Now that we have finished discussing the advantages of cloud computing, let's talk about the disadvantages of cloud computing. First, it is downtime. Cloud computing systems are internet-based. Unfortunately, service outage can occur anytime, which may affect the user's productivity. Next is vulnerable to attack. Cloud computing exposes potential vulnerabilities because every component is online. There is a possibility that the user might suffer from security breaches from time to time. Moving on, why is cloud computing important? Cloud computing is so important because it offers flexibility, data recovery, little to no maintenance, easy access, and a higher level of security. Now that we have finished discussing cloud computing, let's call on Mr. Alhambra and Mr. Aragon to discuss about the 5G wireless technology.
A pleasant day to everyone. I am Joseph Nathaniel Alhambra and I am going to discuss about the 5G wireless technology. So what exactly is 5G wireless technology? 5G is the 5th generation mobile network. It is a new global wireless standard after 1G, 2G, 3G, and 4G networks. 5G enables a new kind of network that is designed to connect virtually everyone and everything together, including machines, objects, and devices. 5G wireless technology is meant to deliver higher multi-gigabits per second data speeds, ultra-low latency, more reliability, massive network capacity, increased availability, and a more uniform user experience to more users. So now, let us proceed to the advantages of 5G. First of all, high speeds. 5G works faster on mobile phones and other devices when compared to 4th generation wireless technology. It allows users to download movies, videos, and music in seconds as opposed to minutes. The network has 20 gigabits per second speed, enabling organizations to use the same for services such as automation, advanced web conferencing, and etc. A recent survey says that a consumer who used 5G networks saved nearly 23 hours per day in the downloading process. Second, low latency. 5G has low latency when compared to 4th generation that will support new applications such as artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and virtual reality efficiently. Not only that, it enables mobile phone users to open a web page and browse things without any hassles. Another thing is that it gives ways to access the internet anytime when looking for some important information. Third, increased capacity. 5G has the capacity to deliver up to 100 times more capacity than 4th generation. It allows companies to switch between cellular and wireless fidelity that will help a lot to experience seamless performance. Apart from that, it provides methods to access the internet with highest efficiency. Fourth, increased bandwidth. One of the main advantages of 5G is that it increases more bandwidth that will help transfer the data as soon as possible. Furthermore, mobile phone users can ensure a faster connection with more bandwidth after choosing a 5G network. Fifth, the modern innovation. 5G technology is the perfect choice for connecting with a whole range of different devices, including drones and sensors. It gives ways to power the adoption of Internet of Things, allowing industries to enhance their productivity. Last but not the least, less tower congestion. The fourth generation cellular networks often get congested, which will result in various problems while accessing important data. On the other hand, 5G networks allows users to avoid tower congestion due to better speed and more bandwidth. I'm giving the floor now to Mr. Aragon to discuss the disadvantages of 5G.
Thank you, Joseph. Hello everyone, I am Patrick Aragon. Let me discuss the disadvantages of 5G wireless technology. First, initial costs for rollout are high. The costs related to the development of 5G infrastructure will be high. This amount will be further compounded by the ongoing maintenance costs needed to ensure the high-speed connectivity. It requires a whole ambitious investment in infrastructure which may lead to delays in its implementation due to high costs. Next is limitations of rural access. While 5G might bring about real connectivity for the predominantly urban areas, those living in the rural settings will not necessarily benefit from the connection. As it stands, many remote areas countrywide are not able to access any form of cellular connectivity. The 5G carriers are going to target big cities with larger populations, eventually working their way into the outer areas. As a result, only some of the population will benefit from 5G communication. Another disadvantage is battery drain on devices. When it comes to cellular devices connected to 5G, it seems the batteries are not able to operate for a significant period of time. The battery technology needs to advance to allow for this enhanced connectivity, where a single charge will power a cell phone for a full day. Alongside depleted batteries, users are reporting that cell phones are getting increasingly hot when operating on 5G. Lastly, upload speeds don't match download speeds. The download speeds of 5G technology are incredibly high, in some cases up to 1.9 Gbps. However, the upload speeds are rarely more than 100 Mbps, which is not quite as incredible as initially touted. That's all for today's vlog. Thank you very much for listening. We hope you've learned something new from this video. If you have any questions and clarifications, you may raise them during our synchronous sessions.